Eric Adams getting a big win from Donald Trump. It looks like he is going to have his charges dismissed without prejudice. It's Dina. I'm here with Karen Friedman Agnifilo, who was the number 2 at the Manhattan DA. Karen, break this down for us. Exactly what does this mean for Eric Adams? How much of this was, a quid pro quo because he went down to Mar-a-Lago, and the strength of his initial indictment? Like, how likely would he have been to get acquitted if they had gone to trial in April?
Yeah, so look, obviously I haven't seen the evidence in the case, so I don't know how strong it was against him. But the Mayor Adams, he's the mayor of New York City. He's formerly a police officer with the NYPD, and he's a Democrat. And it was shocking to New Yorkers when he was caught up in this giant conspiracy, wire fraud, allegations that he's soliciting illegal foreign campaign contributions from foreign nationals such as Turkey and bribery. I mean, it was just the allegations were incredibly just shocking. And when it happened, I remember it was during the week that the United Nations General Assembly was in New York. Now, every year in the fall, in September, they have the UN General Assembly here in New York, where literally dignitaries and heads of state from all over the world descend upon the island of Manhattan. And the police department, I was a prosecutor, as you said, for 30 years. And in that week, it was hard to ever get police officers to come to court and do anything because they had unga duty, is what they called it. And unga duty is a big deal, right? Because they're protecting these foreign dignitaries, literally from all over the world, presidents, prime ministers, and et cetera. And that is the week that the feds, that the Southern District of New York, which is the U.S. Attorney's Office for Manhattan, decided to arrest Mayor Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, the guy in charge of the NYPD who was there hosting these heads of state. I just thought that was a massive decision on the part of that. They could have arrested him any day, right? The allegations go back to 2009, and they waited 15 years, and they did it that week to send a message, I think, internationally and to the mayor himself that A, we have a strong case. They would not have brought that if they didn't think they had a strong, winnable case. And B, to the rest of the world, that we can't be bought, we can't be bribed. So just like I said, the timing of that and knowing that was going to get a ton of press signaled how serious this was. The Southern District of New York also has always been called jokingly, tongue-in-cheek, the Sovereign District of New York, right? SDNY. And that's what they call themselves, meaning although all the U.S. attorney's offices around the country, and I forgot how many there are, like around 100 or so, give or take, all over the country, they all report up to the Department of Justice and the Attorney General. And there's the DOJ manual online that tells how they're supposed to do absolutely everything, and charging decisions, and just the whole procedure of how things are done is all uniform, so that you don't have different outcomes depending on where you're arrested, or you don't have different U.S. attorneys who are all appointed by whoever the president is at the time, by the way. But the prosecutors under them are all career people. But Southern District always had a reputation for being slightly independent. And that's why they jokingly call themselves the Sovereign District of New York. So that's the context where they brought a case against Mayor Adams. I know of at least one, maybe 2 other investigations, one at the Eastern District of New York into him, as well as the Manhattan DA's office into him. So there were 3 investigations, but 1 case that matured to arrest and indictment. And the allegations were incredibly incredibly damning. The investigation started, I think, in around 2021, and the allegations date back to when Mayor Adams was actually Brooklyn Borough president, another job he had after he was police officer. And so they accused him of accepting more than $100,000 in flight upgrades when he went, like airline tickets, that kind of stuff. They also accused him of pressuring the New York Fire Department to speed up the approval of the Turkish consulate. And Turkey is one of the foreign nationals who was alleged to have bribed him. And they also accuse him of soliciting illegal donations to his campaign that then made him entitled to millions of dollars in public matching funds. So those were the allegations, lots of different things. It's all in the world of corruption. And that's why it was incredibly surprising this week when Emile Beauvais, who was the attorney, who represented Trump in 3 of his criminal cases, including the Manhattan DA case where Trump was convicted of 34 counts. Emile Beauvais is now, I think, the number 3 at the Department of Justice, waiting for his co-counsel on the Trump case, Todd Blanche, to be confirmed as his boss, who both will report directly up to Pam Bondi, who was just confirmed as the Attorney General of New York. Emile Beauvais wrote this letter basically instructing the Southern District to seek a dismissal. Now, they have to ask the court, they have to ask permission of the court to dismiss the case, because only a court can dismiss a pending indictment. And so this letter that he wrote was not about the merits of the case. Emile Beauvais did not say that they looked at the case and they don't think it had merit, or that somehow no crime was committed. That's not what the letter said. What he said was, look, it interferes with Mayor Adams' ability to cooperate in President Trump's immigration crackdown. And I was like, I don't understand how that's the case, because I know that Adams clearly said that he was not distracted from his duties. He said, I can do my job. My legal team will handle the case. Back in December, that's what he said. He said people said it was going to be a distraction, but I'm moving forward. So I didn't really understand what they meant when they said that it interferes with Trump's ability to do the immigration crackdown. But the way they phrased it was that it had to do with the fact that Adams lost his security clearance as a result of his indictment, and that somehow prevents his ability to talk about things with Trump about enforcing the immigration crackdown. So I think it's a little bit of a stretch that you need security clearance to deal with immigration crackdown, but they said that's one reason. And another reason is they think it interferes with the June 2025 mayoral primary, which, again, not really sure why that's the case. But, that's what he essentially said, was that this is why we're doing it. Of course, it comes after Mayor Adams met with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago last month. And let's see if the current acting chief of the Southern District, her name is Danielle Sassoon, will she agree? The letter says as soon as practicable, and they have to file a motion with the judge. And Emile Beauvais specifically said it should be dismissed without prejudice, which I thought was really interesting, because there's 2 ways you could seek that a case be dismissed: with prejudice or without prejudice. And if it's with prejudice, it means the case is over for all time. It can never be brought again. It is dismissed and it's over. This one, he said dismissed without prejudice. And what I thought was really interesting there is they are clearly sending a message. Trump is sending a message to Mayor Adams that basically, I own you, because I could always bring these charges back. And so Trump could have pardoned him, right? Trump knows how to pardon people. He pardoned everyone from January 6th, including Enrique Tarrio, right? Including Stuart Rhodes. It's the worst of the worst. On January 6th, he'll pardon those individuals. But Mayor Adams, no, we're going to dismiss it without prejudice, so that it is always basically dangling over his head saying, do what I want, do what I say, and I will, or I can bring these charges back. Now, of course, Trump didn't say that. Nobody said that. I am just saying that as my own, oh my God, talk about having something over the mayor. Interestingly, Adams, and then I'll turn to you, but Adams has sold his soul to Trump, right? Adams was a Democrat. And even at the time that Adams was arrested, he started using Trump language. They're prosecuting me, prosecuting you, not me, right? I did this on behalf of all of you. Like all the Trump language that he used during his case, it was like he was trying to talk to Trump. And then he, of course, went down and kissed the ring.
Elevate your passion using the natural power of hemp with Via. Via's developed a unique blend of pleasure-enhancing cannabinoids, libido-strengthening herbs, and a medium dose of THC all into one mind-blowing gummy called High Love. We're talking about pairing aphrodisiac herbs with a mild amount of THC. Their best-selling High Love gummy will awaken your senses, increase blood flow, and intensify any physical experience that you are having. Via just dropped their High Love bundle, which includes a pack of gummies and a THCA vape, so you can unlock the full experience at a reasonable price. A life hack for real. Trusted by over 500,000 happy customers, Via is well renowned for their award-winning THC and THC-free gummies and vapes. THCA flower, soothing topicals, and calming drops, all crafted with the highest quality hemp sourced from trusted, independently owned American farms. And the best part? Via legally ships to nearly all states in the U.S. in discreet packaging, directly to your door with a worry-free guarantee. No medical card is required. So if you're 21 years or older, check out our link to Via's website in our description and use code MISTRIAL with 2 S's, MISSTRIAL, for 15% off. And if you're new to Via, get a free gift of your choice. So I think you will love Via. It makes you feel great, and it has health benefits. It's just a really great way to unlock the power of nature and use this lifestyle hemp brand that uses compounds found in hemp along with active plant extracts to create products, each with a specific effect in mind, whether you want to get better sleep, ease anxiety, enhance your mood, or just get a little high. They have something for you. So they also have zero THC products if THC isn't for you, and their products range from 0 milligrams and up of THC. So great quality, industry leader, made in the USA with award-winning service. You can't go wrong with quality ingredients as well. So if you're 21 years or older, check out the link to Via in our description and use the code MISTRIAL, MISSTRIAL, to receive 15% off. And if you're new to Via, get a free gift of your choice after you purchase. They'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. This month of love, elevate your love life with Via.
But, interestingly, and again, this is just, I'm not saying anything other than an observation. Mayor Adams is represented by Alex Spiro, who's an attorney that actually I used to work with at the Manhattan DA's office, and I know him. He represents him. He also represents Elon Musk. Okay. He is Elon Musk's #1 lawyer. And Mr. Spiro said about this case, look, that it's going to be dismissed. It hasn't been dismissed yet, by the way. I checked the docket before we did this, and there's been no application to have it dismissed. So it's still pending. And the U.S. Attorney's Office hasn't even filed their request for dismissal yet, but what Mr. Spiro said, the attorney, as I said from the outset, the mayor's innocent and he would prevail. Today, the Department of Justice has reevaluated this case and determined it should not go forward. And he said, now, thankfully, the mayor in New York can put this unfortunate and misguided prosecution behind him. But I thought that was really interesting because he suggested that the DOJ reevaluated the case and determined it should not go forward. But it should be really it should be noted that this was not on the merits. They didn't evaluate the evidence. This was done for purely political reasons so that Trump can further his agenda. And that's why this case is being dismissed.
And I think that Emil Bove, basically said the reason in his memo, the immigration. We see that Mayor Eric Adams sent a memo to staffers saying, don't criticize Trump's policies, don't interfere with his immigration policy. So, a lot of times Trump and MAGA tell you exactly what their plans are, and people just dismiss it or don't believe it. But here you have him saying, we need him this dismissed in order to help Trump's immigration policy. And then on the other hand, that's exactly what the mayor is doing, is helping him with the immigration policy. New York City is a sanctuary city, which would mean that law enforcement cannot help with the immigration, the ICE agents with the deportation. But here we have now the mayor basically taking that away and instructing the city staff to not criticize, to not get in the way. And this is exactly what Trump wants. I mean, New York City is one of our major cities, obviously, in our country. And if he could have, as you said, something now he controls, right? Now he controls the mayor of New York, because at any time he can just put that indictment back again. And then also in the meantime, he's going to help him with his deportation plans, which is, you are also, let's talk about just really quickly before we wrap this up. You live in New York City. It seems like they say like 70% of the residents are deeply unhappy with the mayor. New York City doesn't have a process where you can recall the mayor, other than the governor, I think, is the only one who could remove the mayor. Is this going to, is he going to stay in office? Is there going to be an outcry? Let's say he does literally instruct law enforcement to help Trump's immigration policies. What are you seeing just like among New Yorkers? How unhappy are people of him there?
Well, I think people were questioning why Governor Kathy Hochul didn't remove him when he was indicted. I mean, these allegations were so shocking, right? That you have a mayor who's indicted on these federal corruption charges. It's not even like unrelated to his office. It's directly related to his office. But Kathy Hochul, the governor, did not remove him, even though she had the power to do so. And I think that set the tone after that. Once she wasn't calling for his removal, nobody really called for his removal, because she's the governor. She set the tone. And, he also installed in place some pretty excellent people who agreed to work for him. The police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, has a very, very good reputation, highly regarded. And I've actually worked with her years ago, and she's kind of the real deal. She's great. She agreed to work for him, which again, people were a little bit surprised. And there's been some other pretty high level, great people who have gone and are working in the mayor's office, since all of this. And because of that, and because those individuals have so much respect, there isn't this big hue and cry to have him removed. I think they're just waiting to see what happens with the mayoral election, and it's quite a crowded field. There's, I think, a dozen people who are running, and several people who are considering running, including the former governor who left in somewhat disgrace, Andrew Cuomo, former governor of New York. He has signaled that he might throw his hat into the ring. So I think people are just waiting to see how that plays out. I don't think, since the governor didn't remove him when she had the opportunity, I don't know that now there's no reason to, right? Because now the charges are dropped. But, that sort of set the whole tone, including the fact that you can now drop the charges, right? I guarantee, for example, had she removed him, I don't think these charges would be dropped, but I think Trump is banking on that they're going to get New York City to cooperate in this sanctuary city, deporting migrants. Now, New York City has always cooperated with, it doesn't matter who the president is. If you're convicted of a crime and there's some sort of an ICE, either a detainer or some sort of deportation order, New York City has always cooperated with getting the violent criminals and deporting them. And so that's nothing new. And so if anyone tries to take credit for that, that's been happening, and happened, I think, under Obama more than any other president. And so that's nothing new. If he goes beyond that, look, New York City is a sanctuary city, and we have migrant shelters, and we have all these resources to help migrants who come here. I think if he starts to deport those individuals who aren't criminals, who haven't done anything, who are actually really important part of the fabric of New York City, who contribute tremendously, I think that's where you could see a lot of pushback and blowback by New Yorkers, which I think will have an impact in the election. Whether there will be pushback from law enforcement, that'll be to be determined. So I don't know about that. I don't know if the damage will be done in any event. But all I can tell you is the posture of this case, that they're dismissing it without prejudice, if that indeed is what happens, it leaves Mayor Adams completely at the mercy and whim of Donald Trump, who, if Adams doesn't do what Trump says, all Trump has to do is tell Pam Bondi at the Department of Justice to refile those charges. You know, the big open question I have is, will Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA's office, who he could easily pick this case up since it's without prejudice, meaning double jeopardy won't attach. He could pick this case up and prosecute it. Will he? Does he have the stomach to do another Trump case after the last one and all the death threats, you know, et cetera? Who knows if I mean, look, obviously doing this case wouldn't be prosecuting Trump, but you know, who knows what will happen if Alvin Bragg will wade in those waters. That's to be determined.
It's just stunning that the mayor of New York City, this one of the largest cities in the world, is at the level of corruption, so willing to bend the knee to Donald Trump, that now New Yorkers have to ask the question of whether or not the policies coming out of the mayor's office is to benefit them, the voters, the constituents, the residents, or to benefit Donald Trump. The continued corruption that we have under the Trump administration right now in full light, with this, you know, moving in to dismiss this case without prejudice, like you said, if it does indeed, go through. So anything else to wrap up? We will for sure continue to update here on MeidasTouch as these developments continue. If it does get approved by the judge, and any last words?
Yeah, let's see what happens. We'll see. I can tell you right now, those prosecutors who brought this case are going to go kicking and screaming. It's hard. You build a case, you see the evidence, stuff that we don't get to see. And to dismiss it not on the merits for other reasons, for political reasons, that flies in the face of everything that you're trained and raised to do and be as a prosecutor. I don't see that going over very well. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, we'll keep you updated here on MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.